Hey, my name is Jack, and today is something easy, something simple. There aren't many times in my life where I look at the things I'm doing or think about my experiences. Oh, you thought there was going to be something sophisticated to that? No, not here, not today. Today is when we all live the simple life. After all, a simple man once said that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. That quote could be quite thought-provoking. So I don't think I'm going to think about it too much. Instead, I'll sit here in my $5 lawn chair drinking a nice, cool, simple man's drink and just think about the simple things in life. Fried chicken, beer, my wife. I think that about covers it. Oh, also guns. Usually, I keep a mighty simple firearm at my side, coated in a white sheen because it just came like that, and I use it to fire at any psycho stragglers coming my way, shouting about meat bicycles or spine soup. Those things are too complex for me, but sometimes my mind wanders to the longing for adventure. So, the question remains, can you beat Borderlands 3 while living simple? What does living simple even mean? Simply put, it means living simple. Okay, I did say simply put, right? I'll tell you the rules so you can understand the gist of it all. Rule 1. I can only use white equipment and simple things. So that means I can't use upgraded abilities in my skill trees. I can't use kill skills because those are too complex for my simple-minded simplicity. And I can't use any equipment beyond common rarity. I can certainly use weapons that are stronger than the last common rarity weapon I used. But I can't use anything better than common stuff. Rule 2. No farming. While farming is a simple but honest bit of work, farming for guns is not simple, nor is it honest. Okay, maybe it is honest, but it's complex and requires a lot of knowledge of how the game works to get the best gun possible. Same goes for shields and grenades and all of that other inane, complex, nonsensical nonsense. Rule 3. No guardian ranks. That just ain't simple. Making my stats go up by smaller percentages, allowing me to min-max the game just a little bit better. It'd be simpler if I just turned them off, right? And of course, rule 4, no selling. It's just too much work to get up and go to some farmer's market to sell my guns. It's also too much work pressing R repeatedly, so instead I'll press Q repeatedly. Yeah, one key over instead of two. Simple. And with the simple rule set out of the way, maybe I can just simply stop saying the word simple so much. Maybe not. For this run, I started out with no planning, unlike some of the other runs I plan on doing in the future. So after a few minutes of deliberation and thought and my complex neural network chugging so hard, smoke began to funnel out of my ears and heat up my 24-degree Fahrenheit bedroom, -4°C for the inhuman creatures listening in. Love you guys. I chose Moze. The reason I chose Moze is because if I'm playing this game in the most simple of terms, then having bottomless magazines will by and large aid me in the long run. Reloading is far too difficult for me to think about, and this is a decently long run. After choosing my safe explorer, I await Claptrap's inane ramblings about the future, my future, his future, everyone's future, the future of my simple life if I don't take up a universal amount of simple odd jobs that may or may not lead to a final collective end goal. Ah well, I hate thinking. I'll take the jobs, all of them. My first odd job is to kill a bunch of wackadoodles. What a funny word. Wackadoodles. After collecting my first dangerous and obnoxiously loud hand-based codpiece, my Second Amendment rights kick in, and I enact my self-defensive offense clause to assault the nearby stronghold of Tusken Raiders, Skywalker style. All it takes is a simple speedrun shield tech, used primarily by Dark Souls speedrunners to perfectly parry Gwen's attacks 7 frames faster than normal, and I go to prison to experience the true, genuine Shiv experience. Thankfully, I've only got this very common, boring-looking knife that helps me skin the daily deer crop to perfection, and I give Shiv the most powerful insecticide-based sinus infection treatment this side of the Pandora sippy. Then Lilith does the Lilith thing, the one where I have to talk to her, a truly historical event, and it's high time we move on with a nice little level-up conversation. Like I said prior, I wasn't planning this run out, but I did have a vague idea as to which skills I would use. First off, my active skills are going to be Iron Cub and the minigun, with Iron Cub being the only mandatory choice here because piloting a giant mech is far too complex for someone as stupid and down-to-earth as I am. So stupid, in fact, that I partake in a galactic Twitch stream rivalry between the damning duo of Hasanabi and Pokimane and, all of the smaller streamers. I don't know Twitch culture enough to make that joke sound funnier than just embarrassing myself. Regardless of my inability to make jokes at someone else's expense, the next thing on the list is actually split up into 2 related jobs. 1. Collect a human spine. 2. Free Vaughn. Disclaimer, I lied. They were not related jobs. Working my way through the ironclad defense that is the lawless banditos of the Mexicano wastelands, I free Vaughn, then I unashamedly abandon his ass to climb a small, minor mountain. Shortly before heading back, I witnessed the smartest play I've ever seen a wild animal make in my life, maybe second only to that one kangaroo that backed off after it got punched by an Australian dude. But as everyone eventually tends to do here in America, I have to associate myself with a morbidly obese human being with a serious fetish for murdering bandits. Before making my way over to the land of the larding, I aggressively defile Marcus's disgustingly expensive and complex gun arrangements. Then I come across a woman so wide that my crosshair becomes an asshole and mocks her for her size. Speaking of assholes, I find myself coming across quite a few loot tinks in this run, but none of them drop anything that I necessarily give a shit about, except a Hyperion shield every once in a while. Oh, and by the way, this run is going to be carried by Hyperion shields. They seem to be the only shields that get statistically better for me, but remain in the common rarity. Ancient and Pangolin shields do get statistically better than their previous versions, but I'm looking for capacity. Nothing else. Before too long, I've assaulted the nearest liberal for their hippie dune buggy and left to finish my journey to visit the Great Theater in the Sky on Pandora. Oh, and I might do a legendary count because killing Dump Truck got me a legendary first try. Weapons like that tend to drop when you least need them or want them to, so it'll be funny haha to see the pointless number get bigger, even if by a little. Remember when I said visit in reference to the Great Theater in the Sky? Yeah, well, I meant assault. A lot of assaulting done in this playthrough, by the way. If you don't like assault, please leave right now before it's too late. If I were to give it a ratio of assaults to simplicities, I'd say maybe a 1-to-2 ratio. 1 assault for every 2 simple stuffs. And yeah, well, at the end of this incredibly wild and crazy, definitely still simple experience, I smell the makings of a boss fight. And honestly, this boss fight is more so an annoyance. This one Mr. M piece keeps me up at night, making enough ruckus to combat a tornado siren. Thankfully, our neighbor, Margaret G. Marigold, who looks auspiciously like Val Kilmer, kindly requested me to do an idiosyncratic position. Eventually, I politely opened Mr. M. Piece's chest with my working key so that I can take his broken key back to Lilith. I mean, it's a shotgun. My key is a shotgun, and his chest is his chest. Kind of a half metaphor. The broken key is the broken vault key. You know, at this point, I don't see how you couldn't keep up with the metaphors. They're so obvious, right? Here's another metaphor for you. I have to speak to Tanis. It's a metaphor for speaking to Tanis, because that's what I do. And another metaphor, I kill bandits while protecting Tanis' research homestead. I'm sure you can figure out what that one means though. I do witness as Lilith gets fucking kicked out of existence by a bandit. That's more horrifying than a good metaphor, I'm gonna be honest. This rural gunslinger though has his worst nightmares realized when he must travel into the heart of a city-slickin' megapolitan war zone. By the way, did you know when you're running out of Tanis' workshop, you can see Lilith firehawk her way to Ellie with her fiery beam of light? I never knew that, but you know what? That's far too complex of a detail for me to even reminisce about whilst writing the script. Remember, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. With a bit of bioorganic fuel containment unit rig driving and a bit more of advanced technological thievery, so begins the true adventure. Not that I asked for it. Unfortunately, it appears someone has scheduled a party on the ship field, and it seems to interrupt our attempted escape. They even roofie Lilith. So as punishment, I just kind of point my gun in their general direction and they submit to my propaganda gun. Kaboom. After aiding Lilith and cleansing her blood of the roofie, we take off in the luxury cruise Sanct U Airy. In order to achieve the real luxury though, I have to do stuff. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing except for the part where I put out fires. It's all too complex for my brain. Even when a woman with a pair of voluptuous extremities talks to me, I'm not even fazed. Talking to and comprehending my own emotional spectrum when speaking to a woman is too complex. I'll pass. Knowing that this previously advanced alienoid human woman would demand I use the computer to travel to the city-state city on Promethea, I study the keyboard of the navigation terminal. As far as I can tell, this place has no comprehensible language because the keys have 3 Libras, 2 yin-yang symbols, don't know what they're actually called, multiple diamond orientations, and so on and so forth. The weird shitpost video going on in the background holds no control over my simple mind, but at the end of it all, I decide to shoot the console and hope it works. Thankfully, it does. We might have been stuck on Pandora if it didn't. Not like I'd be too opposed to that. I could just wait here until the twins open the Great Vault. Crashing into Promethea at top speeds doesn't end very well for the local Ratch population. My first job in my early teens involved exterminating Ratches from the smelly depths of sewage systems. Eventually, I find myself in the presence of some mutated Ratch, wielding guns and shouting about god queens. It's very strange, but I ain't never been one to question biology and evolution. Far too complex for me to understand, but you get the gist. A lot of things are complex, okay? What isn't too complex for me to understand though is this fine sniper rifle that I pick up. It reminds me of the one I used sometime in the relevant but distant past that makes for a great anecdote while I pad for time. Anecdotes aside, Ratch killing aside, and padding for time aside, reaching the Ratch-free safe haven, I'm starting to think maybe they should have gotten a warranty on this place. Look how dingy it is. Especially because soon after I arrive, corporate Ratch warriors begin to flood the no longer Ratch-free safe haven. At the request of my new temporary boss who promised to pay me a few $1,000s to go on a simple quest to save his company, I siege the siegers and seek out his super confident confidant. Except his confidant is an assassin with a cool sword, and in order to accentuate how cool this sword really is, I have to help him get a mod to make it even cooler. And cool ain't complex. It's the simplest damn thing in the universe. Legions of walking later, and we reach our next peculiar position. Recently, a young woman came to me, asking after a special kind of education, one that involves bullets. Her husband needed to learn self-defense because he was just a huge nerd. Well, it seems I might have misunderstood her desires because, ultimately, I find that her husband is the one that I need to defend myself against. He attacks me with all of his weird nanotechnological. So I kick his ass to high wherever he will go after death, and another peculiar position down. Another cartoonishly large and obvious bag of money in my pocket as well. But next up is Italy, an unfortunate destination to be sent on our queer career journey quest. But it is what it is, you know? I really wish I did know because this sucks, man. I'm not usually the type of guy to just kill so nonchalantly, but they sent Goddards and weird psychomaniacs wielding nature itself after me. A lady named Mayonnaise. Huh? What? You said Maya? Oh, okay. A lady named Mayonnaise commands us to seek out some crystal healing magic rock type shit. Simple enough. What's even more simple about this next part of this offbeat activity quest journey is the most simple-minded, simply written, simply horrid character known to man. Talking about her too much is making my brain start to think. That no good. No think mean good thing. Always remember the simpleton doctrine. But also remember that we have a job to do, because even at the end of the universe, it's necessary to find purpose and pride in your work. Eventually, the geocache hunting ends with the shooting McTooting of a giant vermin specimen that I could have sworn was living under my fridge just a few weeks ago. Perhaps I was mistaken, but maybe the one under my fridge has more fur on it. With the package secured, Mayonnaise changes the coordinates of the drop-off destination, which brings me into the realm of the unfriendly neighborhood bully man. I'm not too sure if he's actually from this neighborhood. I mean, I'm not either, so I can understand his feelings about a strange new location. Too bad he attacks me before we can talk about the simple life of living for ourselves. The bastard. Unfortunately for him, that means death. Fortunately for us, though, killing him means I can complete my outlandish appointment and get paid. Unfortunately for us, I get paid in the form of some sort of borked cylindrical device. Is this part of a fleshlight? I may soon find out, but first I've got to jettison myself into space and hope, pray, beg that I land on the right asteroid. Not the left one, not the center one, the right one. Mr. Mustache gives me a little dongle doohickey that hacks into things for me. Good thing too, because I would just end up shooting the magical static box like I did before. The coordinates of the asteroid worked, and now I gotta deal with this floaty jumpy shit. I hate space, but I love space. But I really hate space, but I really love space. At least it isn't the deep ocean. This run in general has given me a sort of new respect for the shittier common rarity weapons, because even some of the common weapons are actually incredibly good in a fight. Of course, the weapon manufacturers that are good at this stage are pretty predictable. I'll give you 3 guesses as to which of the 3 manufacturers I focused on mostly. You got it? You almost there? I don't even have to do a gag bit joke skit about this, because if you didn't say Jacobs, Malawan, and Torg, I can't make anything funny to you at all. Okay, while that last bit may have been a little mean, I'll just say it was a joke, and you can't morally get mad at me because those are the laws granted to us by the mighty and holy Maya. Blessed be her name. This time around the block, I don't get attacked by the overwhelming might of the pitch black void known as Hasanabi's entertainment value, and I manage to keep it that way for every step of the asteroid's strut. Truth be truth and lie be lie, I'll tell you that this part of the game was boring. And I like boring. It's simple. Simple is boring and boring is simple. But simple is not boring, it's exciting. But it's boring, so it's simple. Simply put, I hate Katagawa ball. It's too spherically complex for my brain to comprehend mathematically. Thankfully, one of my quirky day jobs was clearing out the spherical junk and putting all of the scrap metal that I can collect into a single plastic bag. The bag keeps ripping though, so I might have just been pranked with this incompletable occupation. There's a whole mountain of scrap metal here anyway, and if there's anything John Henry taught me himself, mining through mountains is none too hard, and I'll get my own work song out of it. But at the end of this road is not success, but failure. Pissing off the admin CEO headman proved to be a very stupid idea. I get my spleen obliterated by the biggest technological advancement in yoga ball history twice, before I'm able to even dent the motherfucker. Thankfully, this biggest technological advancement can recognize when a wall exists between it and I, thus giving me the upper hand with my A and D keys. Rest in peace Respawn as I grab the second piece of the stone fleshlight. And finally, because whoever made this weird ass fleshlight decided it was best to split it into 3 pieces for safekeeping, I have to collect the third piece of this weird ass fleshlight for my own safekeeping. Storming Atlas Corporation proves to be easy enough. I just get shot a lot. Like, a lot. One thing that's beginning to happen here that I don't recall ever consenting to was fighting in the all-new Gundam anime. These giant robots are insane, and more just keep popping up as I fight. It's a good thing robots are weak to a simple-minded fool with an explosive shotgun. Shortly before we have to fight Mr. Junior, I get another spontaneously unprompted screwy vocation request to ride the elevator to Respawn's owner's office. Well shit, that's easy. And as soon as I reach the top, thereby completing my screwy vocation, I have to take a ride on the Mega Sliding Action Fun Slide. Then Mr. Junior tastes the sweet, delicious taste of explosive rockets and a makeshift portable cooler. In response to my disrespectful means of acquiring victory, he shoves a legendary halfway down my throat. Vile complexities. At least we've completed the forbidden fleshlight, which we can turn into Drowning Pool lead singer Patricia Tanis for that sweet, sweet paper cash. I don't even know how to go into debt or how to accrue credit because of how simple I live. And vault time, baby. I drive, Maya thrives. It's all a very fun time since I can run bandits over. This place doesn't get too difficult until we actually find the angry incel meat hidden in the vault basement. The issue isn't that I don't have enough damage, but it's that I don't have enough damage and I don't get any real damage over time. Just minor, baby, poo-poo caca incendiary damage that gets resisted. Even if my damage is pretty shit, all it takes is about 7 minutes in the ring with the back-to-back championship winner Ram P. Ager, and I take the prize for myself and the championship belt. Sometimes it's the simple things in life that really motivate you. For me, that's always. Oh, and Maya dies. Mincing words is too complex, so bye mayonnaise. Before I can make any public comments, Lilith sends me to Eden 6 for another strange employ involving 3 pieces of the stone dustpan that we'll have to put together to collect Maya's ashes for later use. I was told we're going to use them as pocket sand. That sounds kind of disrespectful, but to each their own. Not too soon after spiraling down into the darkness of Eden 6, and I mean not too soon literally because there's way too much talking on this planet, I end up at Anvil. Funny how a man named Hammer can be found at Anvil. Oh, I'm pretty sure that's the joke. Meeting up with Adobe is pretty simple, just gotta walk a few hundred feet into the prison, and a whole League of Legends cast later, we finally reach the planned meeting point of the insanely insane and explosively explosive prodigy Small Sally. She gives me the wacko pursuit that every young teenage boy with a license in the 90s did. I have to deliver a pizza. First though, I have to actually gather the ingredients for the pizza, so it's a bit of a taboo delivery service in terms of who does what. After 3 seasons of growing crop and whole days of baking and kneading bread, the pizza is finally ready. But before I take it, I have to do something. I think I had to take a piss break, maybe, or let my dogs out, or eat, or really any responsible human thing to do. I just stand there for several minutes and watch as Small Sally gets more and more impatient. I've got to meet up with Chiel and Sharpnail, place the pizza directly under the door like a Christmas wreath, and stab it, but it didn't work. Strange, considering that's the whole reason behind why it was made. You know, to work. I'm not sure exactly what to do here. Oh, silly me. I've mistaken the door for a door. The real door is either wall next to it. My honest, simple mistake. After the door debacle of the 54th century, I have to fight the Warden. I don't know, that's just his name, I guess. I think he might have kidnapped someone important. It seems I'm just doing this to satisfy my own bloodlust, honestly. But hey, in the meantime, I may as well save the only sane person left standing. I didn't ask for his name, but he's got a cool hat. And apparently he's acquaintances with this Wainwright Jacobs I talked to earlier. This Jacobs guy also wanted me to raid his estate for something. I'm not sure what he wanted, all things considered. He never told me the exact need for raiding the place. I just did it because, well, money. Easy money. Raiding his estate goes pretty well, except for the part where I get attacked by Barney the dinosaur. I didn't really see that coming, if I'm being totally honest. And I lie a lot in these videos for the funny ha-has. Or do I? Am I stuck in a lie paradox now? That wasn't supposed to happen. Weaseling my way out of death's infinite paradox of lie and death, I collect the magical, mystical discus for the annual Jacob's Disc Golf competition later on, and shoot a bunch of dinosaurs. My middle name is Meteor, after all. Now I gotta meet Plato, leader of the moldable, shapeable, edible rogues over at Reliance. And it's not much harder than putting on a hat to clear the town. I do recall getting mildly annoyed here because I was trying to play through this part of the game at like 1:30 a.m., exhausted out of my mind, and my poorly written memorandum hadn't quite detailed how long this mission would be. That is to say, I forgot how long the mission was. But after I had fallen asleep prior to saving Natasha Bedingfield from Fort Sunshine, I got to work saving Natasha Bedingfield from Fort Sunshine. Bet you didn't guess that one. If I had a nickel for every prison break I committed to save an important member of a rebellion movement aimed at saving the galaxy indirectly, I'd have 2 nickels. And they'd both be given to me within at least a day of one another. Is that strange? Probably, but I won't argue. I'm 2 nickels richer. But whoo boy. Next up is the greatest heist known to man and AI. I have to find the family jewel and steal it. Nicolas Cage style. And so deep into the jungles of Eden 6 I go. This kooky venture is rather strange as a request, and the way I was given the quest made it seem like I'd have to get something inside of the family jewel. How are you gonna put your hand inside of a jewel? I guess I can try. But it appears I've been bamboozled once more, or perhaps I just misunderstood. As soon as I arrive at the family jewel and pick up the greatest pink teddy bear plush known to mankind, that is when I find out. The family jewel is a ship. Bringing this ship back to Jacobs piece by piece to complete his request is going to take forever. Thank goodness the Jacobs don't have same-day delivery service. Traversing the ship to figure out exactly how I'm going to do this, I give myself a pretty heavy electric shock thinking it would make me feel more alive. It did the exact opposite, and I determine a few rooms later that Ratch are really annoying. I guess the old saying is right. Give a Ratch a bullet, and it'll die. I never would have guessed. You want to know another thing that's pretty annoying? Giant mechs. I already said this before, didn't I? Very complex. That's why I have a small mech. Less wires, less metal, less fuel, less attention. So we head for the second piece of the stone dustpan that we need to save Maya's life. Well, her ashes, not her life. I'd hate to have her feel left out or ignored. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Genevieve was actually kind of difficult. Then she started throwing COVID variants at me left and right. My brain was working at, unfortunately, 100% capacity for most of the fight. Then, as the complex neuron connectors were sparking back and forth in my head, I realized something in my omniscient existence. I hated this. So I pulled Iron Cub out of my back pocket. Thankfully, Valve made a mobile version of the mech, and thankfully Nintendo was not allowed to touch it. And the fight goes by like butter in beer. The first piece of the stone dustpan is obtained. And then it turns out that the evil, heinous witch-like witch I just fought stole my fucking ship. Excuse you, this is how I get around. Find your own multi-trillion-dollar airship that was put together with scrap metal from a lawless bandit planet. I would like to give a few seconds of silence to a couple of dead shipmates. Rest in peace, Conroy Roycon. Your navigation skills were terrible, but your souffles were also terrible. I'm not sure why we let you even touch the ship. But you, Miranda with a G, you are so special. Special enough to not make me sad about your death. You won't be missed. Oh, and Balix hacks into the ship and forces that lady out. I was too busy mourning the loss of our wonderfully lackluster compatriots. They may not be missed after all. After shoving Genevieve into Marcus's arms, I dip, dodge, duck, dive, and dip into space to aid Genevieve's new form in seeking enlightenment. Off she goes into the never-ending abyss of space. Well, space does technically end, I guess. We just don't know where as of right now. Maybe we will in the 56th century. But one thing I do know is that I will watch Genevieve fall into space for as long as I must to make me feel satisfied. There she goes. Bye. Okay, I'm bored. Now it's rogue time. But what does rogue time entail? Well, rogues. Didn't you hear what time it is? Jeez, you walked right into that one. My next fishy function is to save the life of 3 rogues, all so that I can unlock a special computer program that grants me access to the location of the second stone dustpan piece. So after talking to the greatest crossdresser alive, accidentally killing a cowboy midget man, and going toilet diving for a 3rd feller, I can just barely piece together the computer code needed to create a holographic jabber. Then I kill a bird. Oh wait, wrong game. I meant I kill a traitor. And with the second piece of the stone dustpan in my hands, I can move on out of there. And finally, the 3rd dustpan piece can be mine. Holy shit, a lot of saying dustpan. I don't even know if I should stick to the joke for this long anymore. But I'm almost there, so may as well keep it going. There is one good thing to come out of this dustpan situation. That is getting to go through the largest, allegedly, brewery this side of the galaxy. So large, in fact, that I'd say it's larger than large. Huge, maybe. Gargantuan, even. Colossal, perhaps. It's a mighty good thing that I don't have to worry about any sort of intelligence checks here to determine the size of this place, because I certainly would not pass if my movement during this fight means anything at all. I certainly should not be trusted around fire anymore. A wise two men once said, although we've come to the end of the road, I still can't let go. Or maybe it was boys to men. I don't know, I've heard it both ways. At the end of this road, however, is a boss fight against Aurelia, and it's a good thing guns generate a lot of heat, and the gunpowder residue certainly ruins her nice-looking $7 quadrillion winter coat. Why is that a good thing? I'm not sure, but I kill her. I end her life. You hear that? That's the sound of her dying. She's dead. Gone. Kaput. What a waste of a character that had promise. Then I've got to solve a pretty simple puzzle, blessed by thy simplicity, and get ready to fight a vault monster. Just kidding, it's just 2 guardians. That's a relief. While they are kinda tough for the shitty McPoo-poo weapons that I currently have, they aren't a boss fight. Okay, yeah, okay, that makes more sense. No matter, this is the perfect chance to use my sticky Torg weapon. It has sticky ammunition already loaded into it. Oh, what did I mean by sticky before that? Don't worry about it, that's unimportant. Another thing that is unimportant is Grave Ward's life, because I get revenge on the stupid plant fucker for the annoyance he brought me in my previous run. Stupid bitch. I'll never forget this. Then Tannis munches on the monster, I raid a vault-sized vault, and Tannis gets Ultra, Omega, Alpha, Sigma, Epsilon, Delta, Gamma kidnapped by the Calypso twins. That's pretty much all of that shoved into one little paragraph. Beyond this point is the next part, so be aware, don't get scared when it happens. You see, this is where the real fun begins, because I get to... You see, I'm going to... Yeah, I can't think of why this part is the real fun, but it's certainly something, alright, and that something starts with some Grand Theft Auto, Rockstar excluded. Just on the horizon's tip rests a golden truck for me to steal, drive, and then immediately give up for the sake of entering a blood-themed mosh pit. Fireworks-themed blood pit? A mosh-themed fireworks extravaganza? A murder party with a side of dyes. Whatever you want to call it, it's quite the party. Equipping my finest explosive gun, known as a vintage 1927 glow stick collection piece in only 2 places in the world, the Falklands and northwestern Maine, I fight through hordes and legions and horgens and leads of psycho. Well, psycho everything and their mothers, really. At the end of this road lies another, however, and I have to hop into a circular wheel motor vehicle and fight a moving fortress of pain and terror. I wonder who owns this thing. It would be pretty funny if their names were Pain and Terror and they were played by Penn and Teller. That'd be really hilarious. Inside I traverse what equates to an elementary school jungle gym traversal course, and it looks like I'm the kid who thinks he's hot shit. Simply put, I eat shit a few times, but I managed to struggle my way through, and just like in real life, at the end, people don't just congratulate me, but instead look at me and applaud with a great sense of pity and secondhand embarrassment. Well, it's actually the giant robot thing looking at me with a great sense of pity, but I'm sure the audience is as well. But you know what? I decide to flip the script, and now I can't read the script. Hold on, let me put it back. I look at the giant robot thing with a great sense of pity instead. The complexity of its complex machinational complexity is far too anti-simple for me, so I put the agonizer, or however you say that word, out of its misery. Then I partake in doing the exact same with the 2 co-pilots. Then something about a Sirentologist. I'm not privy to the ways of the mystical tattoo ladies, if I'm being frank. What I am privy to is opening up my own hot dog stand and selling iridium-laced hot dogs for that extra spicy flavor. Of course, I can't do that on Pandora. If I try, it'll all come crumbling down like a bag of dumb rocks. Trust me, if it came tumbling down like a bag of smart rocks, you would know. You know what I never thought I'd enjoy doing? Role-playing as a dwarf, diving deep into the mines beneath Pandora. Not all of Pandora, but one specific part. My only question is, who is Conrad and what is he holding, am I right? The real reason I'm here, and it's not because I want to be a dwarf or whatever other mind-loving fantasy race you can think of, but because I've been hired to do another weird occupation. I'm really here to pick up a large portable mason jar for Tannis, and one of those little golden statues to go with it. Not sure what she's trying to do with that, but a part of me has a bad feeling. Well, I don't get paid to have bad feelings, plus I have a gun. There's something about this situation though. Something keeps coming to mind. I'm losing the mental picture of it when I try to hone in. Something about a rainbow-colored pony or horse? Whatever it is, I'm sure it's not important or disgusting in any way. About halfway through, I get surrounded by giant bugs, and I have to think that maybe I've experienced this nightmarish nightmare before. One of them can turn into a very tiny man with a weird mask on. Wait, am I a villain in a fucked up version of Majora's Mask right now? That's not to say Majora's Mask wasn't already fucked up. I guess this would be a different kind of fucked up. I think the weirdest part about this journey is where I was requested to gently caress a minecart. The weird part wasn't the caressing a minecart thing. It was the fact that Tannis thought I'd gently do it. What an epic fail, am I right? Soon after, I'm driving this giant mason jar through the back roads and suddenly I arrive. Nothing complex happens in between, trust me. Definitely did not get shot at by a large number of psychos warning me about some kind of jar that was on its way. But yeah, after a very traumatic experience, though probably not the most traumatic of my entire journey so far, I assault yet another church in order to attain heaven. I'm sure you don't come here for the run and gun action though. Unless you do, then, here.
Hello, Bozo.
That's quite big.
I'm gonna headbutt you! I'm gonna headbutt you!
What's up, fuckers?
I hope that satisfied you. I'm gonna move on and fight Troy now, though, so don't complain too much. And honestly, I forgot how easy Troy is in his first fight when you are basically gimmickless. It's actually kind of boring. Sure, having common rarity weapons can make the game a little harder, but it's not all that complex of a gimmick, though that is the point of the run in general. Next, I have to go to Nekrotafeyo. Next, I have to go to the cemetery. That's the Greek translation. Here, I meet Gilbert Godfrey, and he teaches me the values of life, liberty, and the 4 vault keys. Oh, but I'm only 3/4 serious about the vault keys because one is missing, and I must find it. So, let me see if Yep, right here. I find it. All of that other stuff in between, it's not me finding the vault key, so it's unimportant. After the whole thing about vault keys, I've got to enter the inner machinations of an Iridian's mind to seek out the greatest enigma deep within. Whoa, I think I just zoned out of reality. I don't remember what I said there. I don't even think I can define all of the words I may have potentially said. Deep within the red zone, I place each vault key to activate the bigger red zones, which activates the purple zones all around the galaxy. These purple zones give me white guns, or they don't, one can only hope. But this time, I don't get any white guns, and instead, I get a warbling, wavy portal to the final boss. Of course, that came after a bunch of other stuff, but all that other stuff was too... And the final boss is surely a destroyer. A self-destroyer, a destroyer of the self. It's like that one scene in that one 90s action movie where that one main character attaches bombs to the main antagonist's primary destructive device to blow it up, and then the main character wins. I say explosives because really that's all I used in this fight, aside from killing the ads that spawn, so I wouldn't have to be careful about dodging things. And what explosives exactly am I using? Grenades? Oh, no. I don't have enough grenades. You see, I'm using my Torg Magnum that I picked up a while ago. My beautiful, beautiful Torg Magnum. Tyreen proves to be as difficult as her brother is what I'm trying to say. And how difficult was Troy? Well, he was simple, just the way I like it. And as the ending cutscene rolls and Alicia Keys gently sings me into the most beautiful sleep I've ever had in my life, I have successfully completed Borderlands 3 while living the simple life. I sincerely thank you for joining, and I hope you enjoyed the ride. If you didn't, well, what can I say? Rewatch the video, and maybe you'll enjoy it on a second visit. Or maybe a third, or fourth, or fifth, or sixth, or seventh, or eighth, or ninth, or 10th, or 11th, or 12th. Oh, and like and subscribe, or else Credits Moxie's going to haunt your dreams tonight. My name was Jack, and it always has been. And remember, if simple really is as simple really does, then why do so many people care about the beauty of simplicity? Just let it be, man.
Just a humble bounty hunter, man.
Stay lucky.